welcome again to another episode of Rosie Talks Life. I am excited as always to be with you, but I am feeling a little privileged today because I have the distinct pleasure of speaking to none other than the wonderful and talented photographer Dale Grant. And he is joining me today from Berlin. Hi, Dale.
Hello, Rosie. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my goodness. You know, I've heard about you through our mutual friend Suzanne
Mhm.
for years, and I'd be riveted because the stories are really a book or a movie in the making. I'm sorry, but it is.
Definitely one.
It
Definitely.
is. It is. It is. So thank you again for indulging me and meeting with me today.
Quite welcome. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things about what I do here at Rosie Talks Life is like I like to embrace our Caribbean or West Indian folks who have gone on but never forgotten their roots, right?
Exactly.
Um, to just give people that insight about the possibilities that are out there once we choose to leap. Because that leap
Exactly.
of faith is a big thing. So I'll get to it. But let me put on my glasses here because as my husband just told me after this, you can't see. He's so pleasant. Anyway, so so Taylor, you hail from Nassau, Bahamas.
Nassau, Bahamas. Exactly.
Beautiful island. And you left in your early 20s.
Yeah, I was about 20, 21, 20, I think. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And where did you go to?
I went to Carthage College in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
When you told me, because we had a privilege to chit chat a few times,
Mhm.
I was like, he left sun and sand and went to. It was cool. Was that a culture shock for you?
It was a culture shock. And the school was right on the lake, so therefore we had
Oh,
the,
dear
yeah,
God.
yeah,
Did you
it
have
was
lake
cold.
effect, snow, and all that as well?
Yeah, the wind. It was the wind. It was cold.
We had that
They
upstate.
call it they called it the hawk, I think. Yeah, they called it the hawk.
You could call it many things. I'm like, I'm calling it no. It's
Exactly.
cold. It's cold.
It
But
was
I think
cold.
you said your brother had gone before
My
you.
brother went there, and so I thought, well, I'll just follow him and go there as well.
Didn't he warn you? Okay, but I'm saying not that Wisconsin. Please let me do the whole disclaimer now. Wisconsin, beautiful. My aunt lives there. I
Mhm.
forget where. I need to look. She's a professor there, but I know it's cold. I know it's cold. Okay, so when you went there, tell me what were your initial studies?
I studied business,
Mm,
just yeah, business administration,
okay, okay.
and but while there, they had electives, and I was able to do a lot of art classes. So therefore, that was the most fun for me, the art classes. You
So
know,
you must have had an inkling or a love for the arts all
always from the
along.
time I was in the Bahamas, from high school. You know, I had a lovely teacher, Miss Barker, and she
Oh.
was a lovely teacher. It's so
Mhm.
funny. I remember all of my art teachers, but I never remember the other teachers. I can name them. I know them all. You
But
know,
isn't that, they really do make an impression. I mean,
they do
music,
make impression.
art
Yeah,
teachers, if you're athletically inclined, those people that
exactly,
inspire your natural inclinations, right? So
exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can you made me laugh. And so okay, so you were there and then
Mhm.
in Wisconsin, and 3 years later, you decided to go to Paris.
I decided to go to Paris. Yeah, because I was there, and I would never forget. I was walking around campus in Wisconsin one day at Carthage
Yes.
College, and I saw this sign for American College in Paris. It was called the American College at that time. Now it's called
Okay.
American University. And I
Hmm.
wish I took that sign off the wall because that really changed my life.
Wow.
I
Wow.
saw that I had no interest in French. I had no interest in going to Paris, but there's something that spoke to me, and I said, okay, I would love to go and spend junior year abroad. And
Right.
junior year abroad, 1 year abroad turned out to be 11 years in
I
Paris.
know one
I
year.
was not going back.
So when you got to Paris, what did you think? How did it impress you?
Well, first of all, beautiful, lovely city. The people, the openness, the generosity, and yeah, the language, everything. I love the city. And
Yeah,
also there as well, I did my studies, no, I did international business first.
right.
And but I also, continued with art there as well. They had an art program, and I did that as well. So every place I went, I always did my studies, but art was always it always came
Always.
out as my
I love
favorite.
that. I love that for you because it always stayed there,
Exactly.
and you answered it, and then you also did your masters there,
I
if
did my
I'm not
master's, yeah, at
right.
at
Right. So I was
Boston,
at
Boston
Boston.
University.
You
Yeah.
had the things that I'm learning through. I'm like, yes, there was all of this.
Yeah, they had an overseas program.
I could have been Rosie. Okay, let's move on. So
Exactly.
and then from there, you had this encounter with a friend,
Exactly.
Mark,
Yeah,
and he was a photographer.
exactly.
But I wanted to stop for a second because photography lived in your DNA via your mother,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? So this was like it was going to happen. So there's no you. I believe that there's no oh my goodness, this just happened. This was
Exactly. Yeah.
something, right. There's no coincidences.
No
So yes,
coincidence.
please, you met Mark, and what did Mark do?
Well, he was a fashion photographer, and
Hmm.
one day I assisted him. He needed an assistant. I assisted him,
Hmm.
and I remember leaving there and thinking, okay, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
So I
I
finished.
wow.
Sorry, yeah, I finished my studies and I got my master's, but also always knowing that because the plan was to do my master's and then go to London to do law, which I was never really interested in. But
What is that law school? Hugh something law school that many people go to in
yeah,
London. I
yeah,
forget, but many
yeah,
kids do it from the Caribbean. So
exactly, yeah,
you were the dutiful son. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly,
We're
yeah,
going to go do law, business and
yeah.
law. I understand. But there now comes this moment where you fell upon this. So tell me, how did it kind of just make the wheels turn?
Well, I started to assist him, and from assisting, I started getting my own jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and so one thing led to the other. And yeah, and I became a photographer, you know. And like you
Fascinating.
said, it goes back to my mom. It goes back to the roots.
100%.
It's like a full circle, as a matter of fact.
And what I love about is when you shared about your mother, that
Hmm.
and I shared with you, so we kind of have that in common, that we grew up with parents who were photographers, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And I talked about the dark room and
Hmm.
what you develop in film and the smell. As
The
soon as you
smell,
said the smell, I
I,
was like, yes.
that smell.
No, and my father, realizing I was a terrorist on wheels, had to keep me out of that room because I would have really messed up the film. But your
Uh,
mother had a passion for doing flowers,
she was a passionate gardener, more
gardener.
more that.
Mm.
And as a matter of fact, we always kept like we had this big box, yellow box, Kodak. It was an old Kodak
Kodak,
box.
Kodak,
Yeah,
with the little square. That's what
yellow.
I'm talking. Yes, yes, I
Exactly.
do. Oh my God.
And it was filled with photos, always filled with photos. And one day I was looking through it. I mean, I always looked through it, and I always saw that there was dahlia flowers, which she photographed
Yes,
in
beautiful flowers.
1969. And I remember
Oh,
always in my mind, you have all these portraits, and then you have these flowers, and it was always like I was thinking, wow, she made flowers as well. But then it all connected later on when I started doing flowers.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And what makes this so, to me, profound is that I mean, in the scope of everything, because I've seen many of your pictures
Hmm.
at your friend Susanna's house. I mean,
Hmm.
beautiful pictures.
Thank you, thank you.
But your work is so good, Dale, honestly, that it's timeless. Because I look at it and it could be today.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that to me is the mark of somebody with a great eye that I must give you my humble opinion.
Thank you,
And
thank you, thank you.
really, beautiful work, beautiful work. But then now you've done a book, you've
Hmm.
created a book rather
Hmm.
of flowers.
Hmm.
And I'm going to put captions up what so people can see your work.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And there was one that we spoke about, and I wish I had the book next to me because Susanna has a copy of the book,
Hmm.
where we spoke about this particular composition of a bunch of flowers that you said you got from the botanical gardens in
Botanical Gardens in Berlin, exactly.
Berlin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember looking at it because of all of the pictures. There's a beautiful one on the wall that I'm going to show
Hmm.
folks in a bit because to see it in its glory is something else. But it was very strange that the composition of how you placed all of those flowers seemed like a conversation and as if people were in the marketplace. It was like a community. It was movement and that talent. Oh my God! Speak about that, please.
Well, when a lot of people see this particular photo, they think it's most people think it's copy paste. They thought I photographed them all individually and then put them together.
They don't insult you like that. Let
Right.
all
Right.
don't get
So I said the story right. I said no, no, no. I just sat
whoa.
there and I placed them
I
all like
never
that.
thought that. That's weird. I never thought it. I just saw, my God, because it had depth, it had, and
Hmm.
especially if you're open to, interpretation, because
Hmm.
somebody else will see something else, right?
Hmm.
Um,
It's like
just
very community,
yes,
different colors, different shapes, different
absolutely,
forms,
absolutely
different, yeah, yeah. They're all very, very different flowers. I think, yeah. I forgot how many different flowers on it, but really many, maybe 20 or
beautiful,
20 or
beautiful.
more, I think. Yeah.
And then you had a showing in Berlin. Talk
Yeah,
about that.
recently I just had my first solo show in Berlin. It went really, really, really well.
I'm
Lots
going
of
to put a
visitors.
clip of that as well.
Thank
Well
you.
attended. And what was the feedback like?
Feedback was amazing. I got many sales, lots of visitors, and I got a lot of press as well in the Berlin
Nice,
newspapers.
nice.
And it
Speaking of
went really,
sales,
really well.
I would encourage because again, I'm going to feature that picture, and it's a dahlia. You said that one that Susanna, our friend, had.
That's the one. That's a Gebra, they call it. That
Oh,
one.
a Gerber, not
Yeah,
the girl.
Gebra. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we
yeah.
said right. But the details of
Hmm.
it,
That
folks,
that.
if you're looking for exquisite work, I'm
Hmm.
telling you, or you have a restaurant, or maybe a lobby in a hotel, or even in a business, stunning. I mean,
Thank you very
just the way it was put up, and it's on glass. Oh my
much.
God, that was stunning.
And
And
also the story behind that, as a matter of fact, is interesting because the Gerbera, it's very small. And I was
mhm.
going to shoot it and it was like, it's not saying much to me. So therefore I went to my framer and he gave me two pieces of transparent glass. And
Oh,
so the photo is actually the flower crushed between two pieces of
oh, pressed
glass.
almost. Yeah.
Pressed,
Oh
exactly,
wow.
pressed.
Oh
And that's
wow.
why you see all the details
Details
in
just
the
pop.
middles and stuff. Exactly.
Stunning,
And the
stunning.
movement of the petals. Like, some people see it and they think it's like an underwater animal, because of the movement.
You see again interpretation, right?
Exact. Yeah, yeah.
Interpretation. Um, how can people contact you?
Well, they can contact me through my website or
Mhm.
I'm on Instagram as well, Dale.Grant.
Dale.Grant. Okay.
Exactly, Dale.Grant. And
Dale.
also, yeah, through email.
So your website is also Dale. What's just so that
Dale Grant Photography at Dale Grant Photography at gmail.com.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
So that's
Dale Grant
email.
Photography.
Okay. Because I'm gonna want to put all of that good
Thank you
stuff
very
up.
much.
People could
Appreciate it.
definitely follow because there's so many of us out there doing great things, and I say us meaning Caribbean folks, and I
Exactly.
really just want
We're
to
doing it
make that nod to you, and I want to kind of end it. I could talk with you forever.
forever. I know.
But 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 one of the things I want you to kind of send a message out, if you don't mind, to parents, not even the kids. The kids now are wired differently, but the fact that we come from a place where yes, we want our children to be lawyers and doctors and
Hmm.
accountants and all that good stuff. But the fact that you truly can do this,
Yeah.
and they need. Can you also? It touched me. Well, okay, I'm going to back up. Talk about the encouraging, the young families out there who might be nervous to encourage their children to go into the arts.
Well, it was like me. I mean, I've always loved the arts.
Right.
I was very good in all the other subjects, but I excelled in art.
Mm.
And so if a parent sees that they have a child who really excel at art, or they see like from a very early age, s-
Mm-hmm.
um, talent that's, growing, I would say, and if the child wants to do art, encourage them to do it. I would say,
Absolutely.
yeah, encourage to do them, because it's something they always have in them. Like, for example, in my family, well, I have a brother who's a drummer, so therefore that's art.
You
So,
see, right, right, of course.
but I think all families, they have a few of artists in it, artists in them, in the families, and I think that it should be encouraged.
I
For example,
absolutely
my father. I mean, I remember telling him that I wanted to do art. This is after I'd finished my master's,
right,
and I told him. I sat down with him. He came to Paris, and
right,
we were in a restaurant. I sat down with him, and I had the conversation. It's like, okay,
right.
I said, okay, I started doing photography. I want to be a photographer. And he said, Dale, the most important thing is that you're happy in life, and I want you to do whatever makes you happy. And I
Wow.
never heard anything. From that time, he never mentioned the subject again. He just let me do it,
Right.
and
From
thanks to him, I'm flourishing as an artist. You know,
absolutely, because you know that we know our families love us, but
yeah,
we know that they're sometimes rooted in they can't change. So
hmm
for him to give you that gift to fly, that
yeah,
touched me so much. And then
mhm.
tying it in with you seeing some of your work also reflected in what your mother used to do.
Exactly, yeah. So my
And
parents always come back.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's something I want to encourage other parents out there that to take the leap of faith,
Of
when
course, yeah.
encouraging your children. And
And also, I had something. Things are changing. For example, when I started photography, there was not much diversity, and so therefore there was not diversity. So therefore, I mean, for example, you have there there was one, I think, one or two black photographers, who I could look up to back in
wow,
the day. And now I'm so happy for the young kids coming up now, the black kids coming up now. They really have a bigger chance than I had. So therefore, think of that also with the children. There's a chance now, there's an
100%.
opportunity now for them to, because of diversity, to do what I was not chosen to do, not picked for, in the past, when
Absolutely.
looking for magazines, example, For
I
example,
couldn't agree
yeah,
more. Couldn't
I
agree
mean,
more.
it's really changing. Naomi Campbell, for example, I just saw an article where she's been in the field for 30 years, and she just had the second black photographer shoot her in 30 years
Could you
for
imagine?
for Vogue, second, and the first one was maybe 2 years ago.
And
So
because
the field is
sometimes
opening up.
because the door is not cracked open enough,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
I always believe in making a way. We mustn't forget, because some people go ahead and don't look back.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you crack that door open,
hmm
others can come through. They need mentoring, they need guidance,
Exactly. Yeah.
all the whole gamut. But my goodness, listen, I continue to wish you only the best and that you
Thank you so much, Rosie.
honestly flourish, continue to flourish. I mean, the fact that you've done editorials, like because you've done fashion and all
That's,
that,
editorials, campaigns, yeah,
and
ads,
I
done it all.
admire that. I admire that. And, I'm hoping that many people now who may not have, from the other side of the world, not
hmm
that you're not known globally, but people have no idea. They may
hmm
not even have known where you were from originally.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So it's such a pleasure and honor speaking to
It's
you
a pleasure
today.
too,
Oh
being on
my
your
goodness.
show.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Maybe one day we'll meet in person because
We
I
sure will through that, I'm sure.
I'm sure we will. But again, thank you again for
Thank you,
joining me
Rosie.
here at Rosie Talks Life. It's been an honor. Everyone,
Thank you.
absolutely. Dale Grant. All right. You be well. You be
Thank
well.
you to Rosie. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.